It's hard to believe, but it's already midsummer and it's time to spray my lawn again. And I'm pretty happy with how the lawn renovation is coming around. It looks way better than it did spring, and I've had to really keep up on the fertilizing and watering to get it to fill in. This area here was one of the worst areas, and it's coming along pretty nicely. There's some bare areas that need extra care this year to get that bluegrass extra nutrients and remove the competition from weeds to make sure that it spreads into those bare spots. To do that, I'm going to use my Petra Tools backpack sprayer, which is quite labor intensive to cover my entire lawn. I need about 8 to 10 refills of that to cover everything. But the most critical thing for spraying our lawn in midsummer is timing. I'm probably a couple weeks late for ideal timing to use my Mesotrione for weed control. That not only is a selective herbicide and kills our weeds, it also is a pre-emergent. So ideally, I did a spring spray and then I do another spray before weeds start to emerge to keep them from emerging or germinating at all. I do have some weeds that have sprouted, but it's been so hot and dry that the grass has been stressed, and I don't want to give it the additional stressor of the Mesotrione. It is a selective herbicide, but even with bluegrass, it stresses that out a little bit, just less than the weeds, and the weeds die off, but the grass survives. But if we do it when it's too hot and dry, the threshold for the grass of what it can take is a lot less, so it might kill off your bluegrass in addition to your weeds. So the main things I want to accomplish is my weed control Mesotrione. This is a very good product. Like I said, not only is it going to kill weeds that have germinated and are existing in the lawn, it also prevents those weed seeds from germinating and getting additional weeds. So I did a spring spray, and I had a lot of bare spots in the lawn, a lot of open dirt, because I killed off my grass completely last year and reseeded with 100% bluegrass. And that takes some time to fill in and get a nice turf that keeps weeds out. But this did an amazing job for over a month at preventing weeds from reoccurring and giving that chance for the grass to spread without competition. So this stuff is amazing. I'm sold on this. I can probably get away with 2 sprays a year once the grass fills in nicely to keep it almost completely weed free. So this is awesome. So overall cost of this Mesotrione, this tiny little bottle, is about $40, maybe $45 now on Amazon. This is Liquid Harvest brand, but it goes pretty far. All you need is 2 teaspoons in 4 gallons of your spray. So it goes pretty far, even though it looks like a tiny little bottle. Basically one of these a year should work for you, depending on the size of your lawn. The other nice thing about this is it does not have a chemical smell like 2,4-D or some of those other broadleaf selective herbicides. They have very chemical smell when you spray them on. This has no odor. It's derived from a naturally occurring chemical in some sort of tree that it puts out through its roots to prevent competition under the tree. So basically it secretes this natural chemical out of its roots to kill off anything that would be under the tree, so the tree gets all the nutrients and the water directly beneath it. So this is a kind of a synthesized version of that. The other thing I'm going to put on is a fertilizer. It's been a bit since I fertilized, probably 2-3 weeks. And because I'm going to spray, I'm going to take advantage of this and do a liquid fertilizer. This product is by Domain. They call it Liquid Courage. It's a fertilizer, a 7-17-4 liquid fertilizer that covers up to 2 acres. This thing was $50. So $50 seems like a lot for this little thing of fertilizer, but it's so concentrated, this one bottle will cover 2 acres. I've got just under an acre of lawn, so this bottle would do 2 entire sprayings of my lawn, so that's pretty good. It's cheaper than doing a granular fertilizer product. It's easily over $50 per per application. So this is $25 for my entire lawn for fertilizer, so that's pretty darn good. Each 4 gallons here, I cover about 5,000 square feet with 4 gallons of spray. So that means I need 4 ounces of this liquid fertilizer, which isn't much. And on the bottle here, they actually provide a pretty good measuring. For those of you who are not extremely familiar with these chemicals, which is probably the majority of you watching, I thought it'd be worth going specifically into each thing I added to my spray mix. So the first one, as I said, is this Mesotrione. This is a kind of a generic brand by Liquid Harvest. It's the best value, in my opinion. It's available through Amazon, is the easiest location. The next ingredient is the fertilizer, which is the Liquid Courage. Again, this is really aimed at wildlife food plots, but the nitrogen density and the value, again, is quite good in my opinion. This is available. I got it through Fleet Farm, which is a local farm supply store. You can find it online. I will put the links in the description below for this video. So that's the fertilizer. Then moving on, I referred to this. This is a sprayer's dye, so I'm using a blue sprayer's dye. This is from Petra Tools. Now, it's not the cheapest ingredient to buy. I think it's around $85 for a big bottle of this, but it's very highly concentrated. It's my second year going on this bottle, and I maybe used a quarter of it, so it'll last quite some time, and the visual indicator of it just makes getting appropriate coverage so much simpler. The last thing I added to the spray mix is a surfactant. So if you read the instructions for the fertilizers, the Mesotrione, often many of these ingredients, for sure the Mesotrione does, is recommends or requires the use of a surfactant. This helps break up the spray, effectively reducing the droplet size as it comes out of the nozzle, and just does a better job of covering the plants and increasing the uptake of the chemical in the plants while putting on the same amount. One thing that's really helped my spray game is adding the dye into the tank. I know I was missing and doubling up in a lot of spots before, but I just couldn't tell. That dye is well worth it, not only to save yourself chemical, but just do a better spray job. And yes, I know these boots look stupid, but it's amazing how much spray gets on your feet, and these do a really good job preventing that spray from getting on my skin and getting absorbed by me. It's only been a day since I sprayed, but I'm already seeing improvement in the grass. The Mesotrione is not taking effect yet, and what happens there is it starts to bleach out the crabgrass and the weeds, turn them white. It interferes with their photosynthesis and then kills them off that way. But the liquid fertilizer is already taking into effect. I let it sit for about 12 hours, then I watered quite a bit. So the dye is washed off the grass, but it already looks greener and has grown quite a bit. So I've got to get the lube over here and cut it off before it gets too long. But the 24-hour improvement is pretty impressive for that liquid fertilizer. It's a pretty big undertaking spraying my entire lawn with the backpack sprayer, so I wasn't able to get all of it done yesterday. And today's too hot, so I gotta wait for a cooler day or an early morning to where I can get some time to spray the rest of it. But this is about the line where I left off, and you can see there's already a pretty drastic difference between this side where I sprayed and up here it's more yellowy, light green. That liquid fertilizer takes effect very quickly, which you may not want if you're not prepared to deal with quickly growing grass. Because I've got the robot lawnmower now, I don't really care as much, and I'm trying to spur that growth and keep it really healthy so it fills in all the bare spots that I still have from killing off my grass and replanting last year. But things are coming along quite good from that aspect. Once that's all complete, I might taper off the liquid fertilizer. I'll probably still do it during the 3 sprays. When I do the weed treatment, I'll probably continue to use the liquid fertilizer. But that is one disadvantage. It's very quick acting, hard hitting, versus a granular fertilizer that will slowly break down and give you weeks of feeding instead of one instantaneous shot. Here's a spot with some crabgrass and a lawn weed. One day after spraying the Mesotrione, there's no noticeable difference. We'll come back here in a couple days and I'll show you what it starts looking like, and it starts telling you that it's taking effect. A few other highlights around the house. The American chestnut tree in the backyard is in full bloom. Hopefully I've got the opportunity to harvest a bunch more ripe chestnuts this fall. The Luba robot mower is still cutting the grass for me, and the organic raised garden bed is doing very well. The only real frustration of this year has been deer constantly mowing off our hostas. I've tried the deer repellent spray, putting more orgonite on there so it smells like poop. They just keep eating them. It's been 5 days since I sprayed, and the Mesotrione's just starting to take effect. Some of the weeds and the crabgrass is starting to bleach out. So if we take a look over here, we can see this clover. That Mesotrione starts cutting off the chlorophyll and bleaching it out. You can see on different weeds there, and it does kill it. It takes a bit longer than conventional like 2,4-D or that, but it does seem quite effective. Now, crabgrass is one of the hardest things to kill once it emerges. The Mesotrione does a really good job as a pre-emergent and preventing it from germinating. Those seeds seem to be in your lawn no matter what. The key is getting a nice thick turf grass to prevent those seeds from germinating and taking root. One of the biggest problems with letting your grass go dormant is that crabgrass then has an opening to take over, and it will crowd out your other grass, and it just, if you don't take care of it over the years, it perpetuates, and you end up with more crabgrass than real grass. And the problem with that is crabgrass only lives 1 year and then it dies off over winter. And so you've got a good amount of bare ground, erosion takes over, things like that. So I did mix it a little bit light this time, 2 teaspoons per 4 gallons of spray, and it is bleaching out the crabgrass. It's probably not going to kill it all. That's a very difficult thing. But last time I used 3 to 4 teaspoons per 4 gallons, and that started bleaching out my bluegrass and damaging that. So somewhere in the middle is probably good, 2.5 to 3 teaspoons per 4 gallons. You can get kind of a tolerance what your grass can take, because it will damage your fescue, bluegrass, and ryegrass if you go too aggressive on it. So it's a balance. knocking down the things that you don't want, but leaving unaffected the grass that you do want to live. I hope you found some value in this video. Spraying is a bit complicated, having to mix the chemical in, getting the ratio between your water and chemical correct. But it really is a great tool to help take your turf grass to the next level. If we take a look at places that have great grass, golf courses, things like that, a big part of their weed control and maintenance of their turf grass is spraying. I'm not saying you absolutely need to do it, but it's another tool to have in the toolbox, and Mesotrione is definitely my go-to, because not only are you killing the crabgrass and weeds that have already germinated and taken hold in your lawn, you're also getting, I'm seeing about a month of pretty well control as a pre-emergent and not letting those new ones re-emerge. So for me, it's been working great. I think you should give it a try. It is a bit intimidating at first, but you'll get it. I was there too. Do it a couple times. You'll get a feel for it. A backpack sprayer, manual or battery, is a great option to do your lawn. Go for it. Thanks for watching. Adios.